All right, so you're here to learn something new and you want to do it quickly.
Yep, that's right.
So today we're going to dive deep into some really powerful lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking about the song Servant by Rhezurekt off of YouTube.
Awesome.
So today we're going to really unpack the meaning behind these words.
Definitely, there's a lot to uncover.
Yeah, we're going to look at these central metaphors that are used and try to pull out some meaning for everybody.
Right off the bat, what really stands out to me is that central metaphor, so that the artist as a servant in the army of the Lord.
Right.
And it's interesting because it's not just about, just having faith. It's about an active role.
Yeah.
It's about being ready for action.
Totally. And we see that, that action on the lines, like slaying all these demons with my sword.
Yeah, that's a powerful image.
Yeah. And that's repeated over and over again. It's not
Yeah.
just a one-time thing,
Exactly. It's a constant battle.
Yeah. What do you make of this kind of constant emphasis on conflict?
Well, I think the repetition really drives home the point that the spiritual life that's being described here,
Yeah.
it's not passive,
Right.
It's not just about believing. It's about continuously putting in effort
Yeah.
and struggling against those, those negative forces.
Absolutely.
But what I find really fascinating is how this, intense action exists alongside these affirmations, like walking in the blessings of the Lord and moving with one accord.
Right.
And I think this points to a sense of community.
Totally.
It's like, those individual battles, they're supported by this shared sense of purpose and divine favor.
Yeah, it's like soldiers relying on their unit or something. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So that sense of unity is strong in these lyrics. And then we have these lines about walking out with no strings, being fueled by the love that God brings to set the captives free.
Mm-hmm.
This feels different to me. This feels less like, direct combat and more about liberation.
I agree.
What kind of captives do you think the lyrics are referring to here?
It's interesting. I think it could be interpreted in a few different ways.
Yeah.
It could be about freeing oneself or others from spiritual oppression.
Right.
Or maybe even from negative habits or societal constraints even.
Yeah.
But what really stands out to me is that line about walking with discern, not just emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that suggests a need for clear-headed understanding in this process of liberation.
Yeah, it's not just about feeling good.
Exactly.
And that ties into the next line, the desire to expose every potion.
Right.
Which highlights a need for, vigilance and revealing those hidden dangers.
Absolutely.
And this makes me think about personal struggles too.
Mm-hmm.
The artist mentions rattling my weakness to God.
Yeah.
And not wanting to be stuck in the trap.
Mm.
Why include that vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
in a song about spiritual warfare?
I think it's really powerful because it adds a layer of depth.
Yeah.
It suggests that spiritual strength isn't about being perfect or flawless.
Right.
It's about acknowledging your own shortcomings and seeking reliance on your faith to overcome them.
Totally. And that internal battle seems to intensify, with these lines about demons causing you to stumble, which leads to killing my FLH and putting the flesh to death.
Yeah.
FLH here probably refers to flesh, right?
Right. Which is often used to describe those base desires or sinful tendencies,
Right, like the things that are holding you back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really powerful metaphor.
It underscores this constant struggle against those inner temptations.
So we've got this internal and external fight happening at the same time.
Absolutely.
And then there's the complete reliance on a higher power.
Yeah.
His word for order my step, and God only knows what is next.
Right.
This speaks to such a deep trust.
It does. It's about surrender.
Yeah.
Surrendering personal control and having faith in a larger plan.
Yeah. And then finally, the artist declares, I'm not just an artist. I'm working for the harvest until my soul's departed.
Powerful stuff.
I know this totally reframes our creative work
Yeah.
as part of this, larger divinely inspired mission.
It does.
What's the significance of that to you?
I think it suggests that there's a purpose that goes way beyond personal artistic achievement.
Yeah.
It's about dedicating your talents to this spiritual goal.
Absolutely. So just to recap quickly, this deep dive into Rhezurekt's lyrics, reveals this really powerful portrayal of a life that's dedicated to faith.
Yeah.
And it's marked by these ongoing spiritual battles, a reliance on divine guidance, the importance of community, and this clear sense of mission that informs even their creative endeavors.
Very well put.
So much to think about here, but we're out of time.
This was great.
So one last thought for you all listening out there.
Yeah.
Think about how these metaphors of service and struggle and purpose resonate within your own life.
Regardless of what you believe.
Yeah, regardless of your beliefs.
What battles are you facing, internally or externally?
Yeah.
And what guiding principles are you using to navigate them?
Think about that. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.